right, everybody. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to One Objective tonight. Guys, we got a really good show lined up for you guys, and we worked out our bugs. We found out what the issue was after the last show when we had Shannon Wheeler on. Like I said, we had his audio, didn't have video. So, fingers crossed. I think we got everything right. But, Chris, kind of talking about that. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
You feel confident about tonight's show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everything.
I'm confident about every show.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. But, you know, it's just, the bugs most of the time we have are like totally unexpected. Like we test everything and then you get in the show and boom, nothing works. So,
yeah.
But so far everything's been doing good. So, but anyways, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Like I say, we got a really great show lined up. We're going to get Barry Davis on. He was the B.A.S.S. Nation Kayak Series winner at La Crosse in Wisconsin on the upper Mississippi River. So, 16, 17 hours away, totally somewhat different fishery. I mean, when you listen to his story, he found stuff that worked for him back at home, and he made it work there. So, and Barry was posting some big pictures during practice and all that. So, you knew that he was on some good fish, but you just never know with that place. Like, you think you're on good fish. Granted, I've never fished it, so, but I'm just saying from what I see to other people, they post really good pictures, and then all of a sudden tournament time comes around, and the fish that they thought was kind of big really ain't as big as what everybody else was catching. So Barry was on some really good fish, and I'm glad it held out for him. Couldn't happen to a better person. Well deserved. So, but anyways, before we get into all that, I want to thank our sponsors. These guys have been amazing with us this year and the previous years as well. And, you know, got some things working for possibly September. Not sure yet, but there's potential there. But anyways, I want to go ahead and thank Bonafide Kayaks, Yak Attack, Missile Baits, Falcon Rods, Bino Power, AccuCoal, Power Pole, and our giveaway sponsor for tonight, RBT Custom Crankbaits. Chris is going to pull that up right there. We're going to show the crankbait that we're going to be giving away tonight. That is what he called his Natural Crawl.
Natural Crawl.
Natural Crawl. That is a masterpiece. It looks really good. Yeah, it is a beautiful looking bait. So anyways, we're going to be giving that away to a lucky listener tonight. Like say, Chris goes through and just picks a random winner. And, you know, so try to stay, he goes down the message board there. So try to stay, you know, stay consistent when it comes to, you know, asking questions or just kind of, you know, being in the chat box there, shall we say, because that's how he kind of picks his winner there, who keeps popping up, this and that. And so, but anyways, guys, I want to thank all y'all tuning in. If you can, please share this with your friends right now. I want to get as much attention as Barry deserves. Barry deserves all the attention in the world on the fishing industry right now. Like I say, couldn't happen to a better person. He beat the second place guy out by an inch. Just kind of looking, I didn't have the exact measurements, but Barry ended up having 88 inches with Joey Vanyo with 87 inches. So I don't know if it was like 87 and a quarter or how that was. But anyways.
Got a question real quick.
Okay.
Kaz wants to know, I bought a new bow mount motor from you guys. Can you use this for any trolling motor or only the motors like the IX3?
We made it so you can bolt the Minn Kota and the IX3 up to your front mount trolling motors. So yes, on that. Now, if you're looking at doing like the regular hand Minn Kota and all that, well, they do have a bow mount one for that too, where you can hand operate it. I forgot. So yes, I'm thinking so. Well, I had to talk with James on that, but I'm pretty sure yes, it's all made because all of them have that same hole pattern.
Yeah.
And then if you use the quick disconnect, yes, you can because they all have that same bolt pattern. So, but we're going to be talking some more about that tonight too, as well as our new mount came out. That was done really well. I want to thank everybody that has bought a mount from us so far. They're going to be shipping out Wednesday. We got a lot of mounts to ship out Wednesday, and more are coming in. So, but like I said, when whoever got the orders in first, that's how we're doing. We're going down the line. That's how they're going to ship out. But really excited about that. We're going to talk some more about that. We're going to talk about my first impressions of the XI3 kayak trolling motor. Great trolling motor. I really liked it so far, but I like I say, I want to save my impressions for after when we have Barry on. And like I say, we're going to be having him on here In
5 minutes.
Yeah, about 5 more minutes. So we'll give him a little time to get ready and get set up. But also, guys, I want to tell you guys about what we got going on now. One objective, we haven't been pushing it real hard yet because we haven't got a lot of our videos up for YouTube. But we are pushing now our One Objective Outdoors. This is kind of behind the scenes of what we do other than just the fishing side of things. So four-wheeling, got my son into go-kart racing. So it's going to be some of that on there, getting his cart ready. But getting his cart ready to just family time. You know, that's really important to us, and we want to be able to share our experiences with you guys. So if you get time, please go over on Instagram, Facebook. Like I said, we don't have nothing on YouTube yet to really even worry about subscribing to, but if you like to subscribe, find us on YouTube. It'd be One Objective Outdoors. We're going to be doing hunting, all that stuff. So really excited about getting that going. We got a few videos edited, gearing to go up here soon, but nothing. We haven't really, like on our Instagram, we've been doing some pictures. I don't know if you've seen any of it right now, Chris.
Yeah, I've seen a few pictures you put up there.
Yeah, so like I say, go on there. Don't mind checking it out. And there was one more thing I wanted to add before we got Barry on, and man, it just slipped my mind. But anyways, go there and check that out. Oh, I know what it was. Also, I want to thank all of our new followers. We've had a lot of new followers on our Facebook. We've had a lot of new followers on our YouTube. We hit 4,000, Chris. 4,000 subscribers. Man. So
it's a lot of subscribers
for us. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like
yeah.
there's Fluke Master and Gene Jensen and all them guys, and naturally they got a lot of subscribers, but we don't have what they have. But for us, it's a milestone. So we were hoping to hit that by the end of this year. We hit it now, so now our goal is 5,000 by the end of the year. It's a stretch of a goal, but it's possible. So anyways, like I say,
it can be done.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please go in there and check that out. All of our shows go on to YouTube if Chris hits the record button, but he did tonight. So
yeah, I did.
All of our shows go on YouTube. And then, like I say, tomorrow we'll have everything up on iTunes, Stitcher, all that for everybody to listen to for the podcast side of things. So, Chris, what time do we got right now?
8:08.
8:08. So we're going to call Barry here shortly. Chris is working on a few things, getting some pictures up. But once we get him in, like I say, guys, ask the questions. But we're going to be doing an in-depth segment with him on summertime finesse fishing. So we all know Barry likes throwing a shaky head. He likes throwing a wacky rig, all that. So we're going to have him on talking about that as well as our in-depth segment. So, if you got questions about that, try to save that towards our in-depth segment. So if we don't answer any of the questions that you might have, you can ask them then. Chris is going to do his best to get to all the questions. I can't guarantee he'll see them all, but he's going to do his best at trying to get to all of them. We're going to do our best to try to answer all the questions. So anyways, Chris, I guess let's go ahead and start calling Barry up if you at a spot that you can do that.
Let me get this straightened out here.
Chris is working on a little scene right now for later tonight for our other topic. But like I say, guys, I really appreciate you tuning in with us. If you haven't yet, before we get Barry on, please go hit the share button. Share this with your friends. And also, like I say, if you miss it tonight or you have to get off or whatever, you can go back on Facebook and check it out. I love that music.
That's good music. There it is.
Hey, Barry, we getting you, bud? We had him. We got you, Barry?
Let me get my camera.
Oh, okay. All right. Barry's getting all set up right now. Chris is getting your scene built up there. All right. We got Barry. Barry, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Man, I bet you are beat right now.
Yeah, just a bit.
Barry, I really appreciate your time coming on, man. Barry, how long of a drive was it? 17 hours?
16. Coming back was about 17 because I had to take an extra break or two.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You want to make sure you
well, actually, it was longer than that. I stopped at rest area and slept for 4 hours, but driving time was a little over 16.
Yeah. How far did you drive after you left last night?
I drove to Illinois, and I don't even remember the town because it was all a blur. Between, and that's another reason why it took me longer, because I would stop every so often and try to answer messages or answer texts or answer this, that, or the other, because my phone was about to smoke.
That's a good thing, though. That's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
Well, man, first off, congratulations on a much-deserved win there. I mean, that's phenomenal. You've gone through some ups and downs in the last several years with a few odd end things, and it's just good to see it all come back, and you have a great finish, especially somewhere far away. That makes it even better, in my opinion. Yeah. You go somewhere and win a tournament.
It's cool to go to somebody else's house and do good.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's always like when people come into Smith Mountain Lake and I get my butt whipped on Smith, and I don't get it because I can catch fish there. But when you get somebody new come in and whip your butt, you know what I mean? And it's just
right.
The knowledge, man, kills you sometimes. And to be able to go and fish like you did, and it's just phenomenal to see you put up such good numbers at a good fishery.
Yeah. It worked out. Everything just worked out. It was my time. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah. And you hear a lot of guys say that, when it's your time, it's your time. And you can tell really quick when it ain't. That's what I always tell people. You can tell really quick when it ain't your time, but when it's your time, man, everything just works out perfect.
Yeah. Well, when you take the first 30 minutes and put 84 inches on, you get your confidence built up pretty dang quick.
Yeah.
And then within the next hour, you have it at 88. I mean, that's smoking up there, because I'd already looked at Hobie the week before, and they were like 87.25 for the win. So I knew I was setting pretty decent fish with 88.
Yeah. And the whole time, I mean, is it in the back? I mean, did you check the score tracker much through the day, or did you just leave it alone?
I checked it a few times. Every time I loaded a fish, it's hard not to just hit that one more spot on your phone and look and see what's going on. And then my phone, Facebook alerts, I should have shut them off, because my phone alerted all day long with people tagging me and saying this, that, and the other. And I was like, really? Come on.
Yeah. I was seeing it go off through the day, and I was keeping up with it. And I'm like, I never thought about that, though. When somebody tags you and you got your alerts on your phone, and that's going off, you're kind of like, oh, man. So, and that plays with your nerves even more, So now it's, but you was able to get through it and like say, come out with the win. And now kind of going into, before we get to all your practice, I want to get to the juice first with the tournament. But after you put all that fish all that inches on the board, was there a point like when they shut it off? Was you like, man, I don't know. When did you get the phone call that you needed to come to the tournament headquarters?
I left the ramp, and there was 13 of us put in at that ramp, and about 6 of them were there when I went to take out, and they all said, let him get his stuff out first. I bet you he's going to tournament headquarters. I said, guys, don't curse me that way. So they helped me get my boat up the back of the truck, because I didn't take my trailer or any of that stuff. So they all helped me throw my stuff up in the truck right quick, and I don't even know their names. This was guys that was local up there, and I have no clue who they was. But anyway, I loaded up, strapped down, and I got about, I guess, 8 miles up the road, and that's when I got the phone call. Said, you need to come to tournament headquarters. And I knew they'd said in the meeting that top 5 be tournament headquarters. I said, okay, there was some hammers, had not loaded their fish when the screen went dead. So I didn't know if some of them had beat me or not. So you don't really know, but I knew I'd held on to a top 5 anyway. So that was my thoughts going up the road, which I probably about wore the steering wheel cover out.
Gripping on that thing.
It was almost an hour drive to get to tournament headquarters, because I fished halfway down a pool 9. So it's a pretty good ride back up to La Crosse.
Yeah, that's a good little ride there. I was looking at it on Google just because, like, I've never fished it, so I was just kind of looking it over, and I'm like, man, that water up there just looks fishy. Everywhere you go just looks fishy. So,
yeah.
But I was looking, just getting around to different boat ramps and all that, how far you got to travel to some of these places. So, but what was it that led you to fish that pool? I read the article on Bassmasters, but what was it that led you to fish that pool right there, to start there?
I got on Google Earth. I didn't study up on this as much as I do some, because I had a bunch going on here. I was tournament director last weekend for a KBF event here at home. And I had a bunch of stuff to do with that. I was down at Hartwell for 2 weeks dealing with that stuff, camping. So I didn't spend a lot of time looking things up. So the last 2 nights before I left, I really tried to study up hard on it on Google Earth. And I looked at 7 and 8 first and wasn't even thinking of 9. And I pulled 9 up and got to looking. The river splits. And you've probably got the main river where your barges go up and down is 3 or 4 times wider than what that sub river that splits off and goes on the backside against the tracks over on the Wisconsin side. Mm-hmm. But both of them are heavy flow. Both of them are about 14 to 20 foot deep in different places. So they got good flow, they got good depth. But in between that is a bunch of acreage that's got the sloughs cutting through that look like little rivers running from one to the other. And the big river pushes water to the smaller side of the river.
Yeah.
And when I seen that and got to looking at it and seen all the trees, the sandbars, I said, man, that looks like my river at home. It's just a shorter section of river. I'd have to hit 3 or 4 sections, to cover a lot of space. So I'm going to try that because that looks like something that's familiar to me. And then when I got up there, that's the first place I went. I found that. I found fish the first day. I found 75 inches the first day and caught a bunch of fish, but I had 75 as my total. I said, well, that may get me in my top 20, 23 position so I can go to the classic part anyway, which was my goal, to go up there and go to the classic.
Yeah.
That was my thought process on picking 9. But it looked familiar where everything else is grass. I'm not a frog fisherman. I've got a box full of frogs, and I throw them from time to time, but it's not my favorite thing to do, so I didn't want to go fish grass.
Yeah. So you just kind of picked up what you knew, shake your head and all that, and you just went to town.
Shake your head and rig, yep. And it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, you and Casey must hang out a lot because Casey loves a daggone shaky head too, and he's won a lot of tournaments on a shaky head.
Hey, man, to me, wacky rig is probably what I fish the most. And on practice days, I caught more fish on the wacky rig. But I didn't even throw the wacky rig, but I think twice Saturday morning. That was it. And they didn't hit it either time. I threw the shaky head. They started hitting the shaky head, and I stayed with it the rest of the day.
Yeah. Now, were they setting up like river fish do in the current breaks and all that? Or was it, what was the key spot you were looking for to cast to?
It was kind of weird. Where I fish all the time, they're going to be in current breaks behind the log, right under the edge of the big part of the log where it's got that little bit of funnel break. They're going to be in the cuts in the bank, stuff like that. So that's what I was looking for. Well, there was a big stump that had some dead water in it. You know how you get a little pool in there, fake got leaves on top and all that stuff. So I was checking that out, and I threw the wacky rig in it the first day of practice, and I caught a 15-incher right off the get-go. So I threw right back in there. I caught a 13, 13 and a half. I threw back in there again, caught one that was in the 13s again, and then a 14. I said, daggone, they're like logs in here. They're just stacked up in this hole. So then I went to work in that whole bank because it had little cuts in it, and they were just stacked up on that bank everywhere. It's not 30 yards, and it was just fish after fish after fish. So,
man, yeah, that's what I love about river fishing. I know just fishing the James River around here, you can get in a certain spot. You can load the boat if you get in that perfect spot,
Yeah.
And them river fish stack up. And the thing about them river fish, you don't care if it's a largemouth, smallmouth, they all mean. They all pull hard.
Yep.
It's different from a lake fish to a river fish. It's crazy how mean they are.
Well, I spent Thursday afternoon out on the main river trying to find smallmouth because I wanted to see if I could find a decent-sized smallmouth to have some kicker fish because all the largemouth I was catching were smaller. And then I went back in that hole later that day, and I caught an 18. I said, okay, I'm going to stick with the largemouth. And I did pick up a few smallmouth in there. They were on the sandbar right off the edge of it instead of being up against the bank. But so there was a mix of fish in there, but the largemouth were just heavy in there.
Yeah, that's what I love when you can get to them lakes where you got options, but like I say, a lot of times you get in there to those northern bodies of water, it's smallmouth dominant, but
yeah.
Some of those rivers and grassy lakes, man, it's largemouth.
Well, this one I think is more northern pike dominant. I don't know how many. I've lost Matter of fact, I got a shaky head to show you here, and I couldn't even get one that's the regular one I use because I lost them all. The daggone pike. They just snap them off because of teeth. So I had to go out. I lost the last one. I broke a fish off late Saturday evening down in a mess of trees in about 6 foot of water. And when I broke it off, that was the last 16th ounce of the brand that I use all the time. So I had to switch over to a different brand.
Yeah.
And
then that kind of messes your confidence up a little bit. I know for me anyway, sometimes I'm like, oh man, you know, it's, you don't get a bite by the third cast. You're like, oh man, it's a shaky head. I know it is.
Well, when I bought these, I bought them at one of the local tackle shops here. The guy that I get mine from is True South Lures out of North Carolina. And I didn't have time to order, didn't realize I was that low. I went to my extra bin out there in the shop and was going to get some out. And I said, ooh, I am almost out of them. I don't have but like 5 or 6 left.
Yeah.
So I run up to one of the local tackle shops. They had it's another guy in North Carolina that's making theirs for them. They look similar, except the eye is turned the opposite direction. Everything else looks the same, but they worked. I mean, I caught fish on them because I practiced with them some to keep them using my regular ones up.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really not confident in them. It just wasn't what I normally use.
That's right. That's right. Now, when it comes to depth range, what was that depth you were looking at where you were finding them stacked up?
I rolled up on that bank on purpose just to see what I could see on my depth finder, and it was 6.5 foot deep was the deepest part I could find on it. There was 2 shelves from where the water, it was in a bin, so different water depths cutting a shelf on it. So there was a shelf about 1 foot deep, and I could throw the wacky rig on the practice days up on that shelf and they'd nail it. They're just laying up on it. And the day, tournament day, I could drag the shaky head off that shelf to the second shelf, and some of them hit it there, then some of them didn't hit it down to the 6.5 foot deep part. And I kept pulling grass up when I didn't pull a fish up. And so it was grass all down in there. And I didn't even know that until tournament day.
Yeah, so they were just kind of getting down there and laying in that. So they could pull up, feed, sit down in the grass. They didn't have to go far. Yeah,
because I tried to set the hook 2 or 3 times thinking it was a fish, and I was pulling through grass. I pulled back the head with a bunch of grass on it. So, and I said, okay, now I see why they're stacking up in here so much. I got that grassy bottom because I didn't go over there and really I didn't want to stir them up, so I didn't really mess with them that much.
That's right. That's right. And that grass can really mess you up sometimes. It does. It feels like something's picking it up and trying to carry with it, So, I've set the hook a lot of times on grass.
Well, the current running through there was almost 2 miles an hour.
Wow.
And it funneled there. That's why it was deeper in that spot. It was a sandbar that pitched around to the right side, going river right if you're looking down river. And the way it pitched around, it just carved that right side out to get it deeper. So it was freaky when I pulled in there. I had 20 minutes to sit and wait on time to start. And the fish were popping and popping, chasing shad up on the sandbar. And I'm sitting there going, man, I hate this when I get to a spot this early and I can't fish. I just got to watch them. They're all going to leave before time starts. So,
when you make that cast, they're going to disappear. That's in the back of your head.
And luckily, and one of my buddies laughed at this yesterday. I threw my first cast out there, and I'm one of them. I'm not really superstitious, but I am. I don't like catching them on the first cast.
Yeah.
And there's one hit at the first cast, and I set the hook, and he come loose as soon as I went to set the hook. He pulled the claws off the crawl, so he didn't have it in his mouth good.
Yeah.
I said, okay. I missed one, but I didn't catch him on the first cast to screw me up the rest of the day. So second cast is when I caught the 17.25.
Oh, wow. That's good, man. I'm like that too. I don't like my first fish being a big fish.
Yeah.
Because if I catch my first fish as a big fish, I'm not going to catch nothing the rest of the day, or I'm going to catch dinks the rest of the day. So, I'm fishing in the tournament with Chris before, and I've caught a big fish, and I look at him like, we're screwed because I just caught my big fish for the first fish. I know the feeling, man.
My second one was 12.5, so I was getting worried there for a second. Then them 2 18-somethings come up, and I was like, okay, I'm okay.
Yeah. Chris, you said we got a question?
James is wanting him to repeat the shaky head brand again.
Oh, the shaky head, the True South Lures. Is that who it was, Barry?
Yeah, True South Custom Lures out of North Carolina. John Martin's his name, but he's got a website, and he makes spinner baits and all kinds of stuff. I'm tied in with a couple of spinnerbait companies, so I don't use his spinnerbaits. I've got some of them where I've had them in the past and won them in tournaments when he gives packages away and stuff.
Yeah.
But he makes some really good stuff.
Yeah, I've seen his stuff before. He does. He does make some really, really good stuff. Chris, we got another one?
Yeah, Ron wants to know how he anchors his boat.
Power pole.
The only way, baby.
That's right.
That's the only way. That's all.
I backed up where it was 2 foot deep. Power pole down, let the front of the boat spin around the way I wanted it, and that's the way I set, and just kept casting constantly.
Yeah, it's hard to beat the power pole, and especially river fishing. Lake fishing, it's good, but a lot of times, depending on the lake you fish, how deep you're sitting, it's kind of useless. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I've been trying to come up with a way to get a second one, and yeah, I'm not working right now, so it's kind of hard to come up with some of that stuff, but I think I got a little bit of a paycheck coming that I might be able to buy the second one with now.
That's right. That's right. Make it pay for itself that time.
Because then I wouldn't have had to worry about how I spun my boat. I could have just anchored them both down and been done. The boat would have sat there.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that
most
would
definitely.
be nice.
Chris, you said we got another one?
I just thank Mark for putting the link for True South in the chat there, so everybody can see it if they want to click on it and check it out.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, I know. Just with the river fishing, a lot of people complain about the price and all that, and I get it. They're expensive. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you what, guys. There's so many times. Chris, he's been with me in the river before. I can pull right up. I can nose my boat up on a rock in the current somewhere and just power pole down, and I'm going to sit there as long as I want to sit there. I'll sit there and come down the river. You come up on a set of rapids, you're like, I don't know if I want to go over that. So I'll throw that power pole down. And I can sit the boat, get it set up, and I can jump on out the boat. And if I want to walk it around a set of rapids, or if I just want to sit there and fish ahead of the rapids, it's game changer. If you've never had one, and I know people complain, I'm just going to use a regular stick or anchor or whatever, and that's great. But I'm going to tell you what, man, daggone power pole is hard to beat. I love it.
There's 2 situations I don't use it in. If I go to a really tight river, I'll take mine off, and I'll use my yak attack stick.
Yeah.
Just because of hanging and overhead stuff.
Yep.
Then anytime I fish a lake like, Santee here in South Carolina, anybody's got cypress trees. Because if you ever let that thing touch cypress trees, there's wasp nests everywhere in them cypress trees.
Wow. Yeah.
And you want your rods laid down behind you, and you don't want a power pole over your head, because trust me, them things are relentless when they come out of that tree.
Well, I know when we went to Louisiana for the national championship, I had my rods down, but I still had the power pole. But I always put it down a little bit just so I had a little extra clearance. But the whole time you're looking everywhere you go, because I'm always worried about hitting that limb and a snake falling out. I didn't even think about
that was always my worry until I got to fishing Santee a lot, and then I got to figuring out the wasps are a whole lot worse than the daggone snake is.
Yeah, they just keep on biting. So
yeah.
No way, man. Chris, do we have anything else or nothing right now? Okay. So Barry, let's kind of go in depth a little bit on, you're talking about your shaky head and you love throwing a wacky rig. Let's kind of go in depth on your setups when it comes to. Let's start off with your wacky rig. What is your perfect setup and why you use it?
Okay, rod. I'm with ALX rods. I've used a lot of different rods. You got your Falcon sign up there behind you. I used to use Falcon rods, and to me, it's one of the better rods out there on the market. ALX made me an offer I couldn't resist when I went with them, and they South Carolina made anyway. But I use the ALX Maestro, which is a medium light plus. And when we do a plus, what that is a medium light rod tip. It's a fast, and then it's got the backbone of a medium. Anytime it's got the plus, it goes to the next rod's backbone. Mm-hmm. That rod works really well for skipping stuff. And some of the boat pros that we've got on the team, they say, I don't see how you skip with that. They skip with a medium rod instead of that medium light plus. But being down on the water as much as we are, it's easier to skip with that lighter rod. And it has the backbone of Goliath, man. I mean, it's unreal. Pickwick last year, I landed a 32-inch striper on that rod when I was at the Southeast Regional Championship.
Wow.
And I wish I'd had video running to show it. I took pictures of it and all that, and Alex that owns ALX, he was beside himself. He said, man, I wish would have had some video of that. But that's my rod. I'm with Lew's on bait casters. Lew's has got some good spinning reels now, but a few years back when I first went with Lew's, the spinning reel side was kind of bad. So I went with Shimano CI4s and on the Stratix, and I haven't ever changed, and they've never said anything to me about it. So I use a Stratix CI4 and a 30 series with 30-pound braid, and I always start with 12-pound red label fluoro. If I think if I see fish and they're not hitting it, I may go down to 8-pound. That's what messed me up at Hartwell last week, was I dropped down to 8-pound and I broke off I don't know how many fish in trees with 8-pound on it.
Yeah.
But that's what my setup is down to the hook. And my hook, and there's probably some of these people I see on here that could probably tell you what the hook is. I use a Gamakatsu Wicked Wacky, and there's my Wicked Wacky set up with the O-ring. Let me get my camera right.
There you go.
Set up with the O-ring and set up with my worm setup that I do. And that hook right there is unreal strong, and it's unreal the hookups on it.
Yeah.
I use a lot of different, and I'll use the term Cinco because the man that came out with Cinco, that's what everybody calls them.
Yeah.
But, I used to use some Yamamoto stuff, but at $8 a pack, it gets expensive because you get about one fish off of them and then they start ripping.
Yep.
But to me, as far as motion, if you can afford it, that's one of the best on the market. Victory, I use the crawl. We'll go over that in a minute, but Victory Tackle Works, they're making a Cinco. It don't have quite the salt content in it that the Yamamoto does, and that adjusts your fall. I'm also on the Yum team, and Yum has the Dinger. Well, if I want something that's really light, I use the Dinger because it has a slow fall. But that right there is what I use about 90% of the time, which is Bass Pro Shops Stico.
Oh, yeah.
And the salt content is really close to what Yamamoto stuff is. You get really good fall, good flexibility, but it's got just a tad bit less salt to where it don't tear as easy. So you'll get multiple fish off one.
Yeah.
So that's my setup, and that's what I use. The river I fish here at the house all the time, that's what I throw probably at least 80 to 90% of the time, and the shaky head's a backup. If I miss a fish on this, I'll throw a shaky head right in behind it.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing about a Cinco that when you, especially, I know getting into the kayaking side, I've seen more, because like I said, we used to do big bass tournaments and you rip and run and cranking and spinning baits and still doing the Carolina rig stuff. But I'm going to tell you what, when you get into the kayaking side, because you're working water so much, you're a whole lot more thorough when you work your spots, and
right.
I have been beat by a Cinco so many times that I've actually, I got a Cinco rod now. That's my whole setup, just for the Cinco fishing. And, I can see why people love throwing a Cinco so much more now. And like I say, I've never was a big Cinco guy. I was always flipping Texas rigs and all that stuff. And it's hard to beat a Cinco, especially when times get tough. It is hard to beat a Cinco.
Man, I didn't even carry a spinning reel in my arsenal until about 5 years ago. And one of my buddies told me, he said, man, you have got to get you a spinning reel to use for some of your finesse stuff. It will get you so much more casting time, because every time you hit a dock pole or you do this or you do that and you have to pull them few little threads out that's on that bait caster, he said, you're wasting cast. Yeah. So I bought one, and I was so off target, it was pathetic. And I just made myself get to where I just used it. I wouldn't even take anything else with me. And on the river, while you're moving in current, if you get to where you can hit a spot about the size of a basketball, you're doing pretty good. And I've had guys watch me and say, how did you get between them two trees? And it'll be 6 inches space. And it's just secondhand to me now, because I've done it so much over the last 5 years and made myself practice.
Yep.
But that's the key to it. It's being able to skip something and not worry about it hitting and backlashing on you.
Yeah.
And all these guys in boats, they'll say, man, I won't touch one. I'm going to use a bait caster no matter what. Well, we're in a different world.
Yeah.
I mean, you're sitting right on the water, hovering and everything. And I still try to stand and do stuff when I want to, but it still works for me. I throw underhanded naturally anyway, and I got a tore up shoulder now, so I have to throw underhanded. I can't do anything overhanded. So it just works good for me with that spinning reel.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you what, you come up to Smith Mountain Lake, because it's so much finesse fishing now. Like this time of year with drop shotting and brush piles, and
Yeah.
man, it's some serious ultralight. Well, I say ultralight finesse fishing going on. You know, I mean, now some guys are still using bait casters, but they're using lighter action rods for drop shotting and all that for vertical fishing. But it's a lot of people with big setups with, you know, finesse fishing now around here. But like say you go down south, it's so much more of fishing cypress trees and, you know, so much more grass and all that yeah, down there you don't see it as much, you know.
That's true. That's true.
But you get in the kayaking side, it's, you know, I've learned two things. If you don't throw a chatterbait and you don't throw a wacky rig, it's going to be hard to compete in the kayak tournaments. I mean,
Jody Queen has made a believer out of everybody on the chatterbait because he's making some paychecks on a chatterbait.
Yeah, he's made a little bit of money off of it, I'd say. Yeah, he's a hard one to beat, man. I know we fished a New River tournament, and the river was, I don't want to say flooded, but it was high, and it was muddy.
Yeah.
And I caught a couple of 12s, nothing major, not what you hear the New River should be putting out. And Jody Queen catches 90-some pounds, and I'm like, where in the world is he at, man? But throwing a chatterbait and a spinnerbait, you know, you're like, God dang. But
that is true.
But yeah, so when it comes down to your shaky head side of things now, is it similar setup with rod and all that, or do you change much up with that?
No, I change. ALX has got an ICOS brand, which is really our entry level. It's the cheaper of the two rods that I use the most of. That Maestro's a Zolo series. The ICOS comes in at $159. So it's kind of an entry level deal. But I like the feel of the Soul 7 and the Soul 7 III, which is a 7-foot and a 7 III, same rod other than the tip being a little longer on that other one. I've just switched up to the 7 III, and I can skip a shaky head almost as good as a wacky rig. And you wouldn't think that 3 inches of that rod length makes that much difference, but it does with me on the skip part. So I can walk these things right up in a tight spot that's really good. But I use that rod, same basic reel, same line setup, and then I use True South's shaky head, and there's one of True South's there that I've got, one of the football heads. And that's what I was using Saturday, except I was using a 16th. I think that's a quarter. I was using 16th, which size difference, that's a different brand there, but that's the 16th.
Yeah.
And it's almost just a hair heavier than what a good hook would be, but it was enough to make that crawl nose down and look natural, like it was falling off that shelf.
Yeah.
And when it was falling off that shelf, they were nailing it. But that's the setup I use on it there. That's one of the crawls that Victory makes that I was using this weekend. And it's got a hollow tube up in the center of it, so it's got the little air pocket. It blows a little bit of air, and plus it helps it keep suspended like this as it's going down. The only problem, if you want to say it's a problem, is it's soft. It moves extremely lifelike, but a fish can come up out of the water and do its little flop fit. You're going to lose your crawls. You won't be using it again. Its claws will be gone. They end up looking like this one here. And then you got a pretty decent little Ned rig deal.
That's what I was getting to say.
Some Ned heads, and they do work because they get the little air pocket in there. It still bubbles air out.
Yeah.
I don't Ned rig too much. I won't go any further than that. I just don't Ned rig much.
I try not to. I bought some, and then after I lost about the 5th or 6th one on the river, because everybody's like, man, you got to throw the Ned rig with the, I think it's called the, is it the Deal or something? I can't remember what the name of the bait is by Z-Man. And I'm like, I can't remember the name of the color. But anyways, I lost a bunch of them things. I'm like, man, I'm done. Like, I'll just throw a shaky head. Heck with this.
It gets me, man. Some guys will come in catching 22, 23-inch fish, and it'll be people you know and you can trust, and they'll say, man, I caught that on a Ned rig. It wasn't but like 2.5 inches long with a little old hook that looks almost like a crappie hook size. And I was like, really?
Well, that's like the Claytor Lake's around here. It's a highly pressured lake, and during the summer, a lot of guys go down to Ned rigs and as light as line as they can possibly go. And we had a winter on 2 years ago when I used to do, I can't remember what term it was, but anyway, the grand prize was $50,000.
Right.
And you had some of the elite pros that would come up here and fish this event. Now, this lake is really small to have as many people as they had on this lake. But the guy was talking about going all the way down to 4-pound test on a Ned rig.
Yeah.
And he had like 40 and 50 Ned rigs in his boat because he was losing so many of them. I'm like, man, that's serious dedication right there.
Joe Cassie is the clearest water we have in South Carolina, and I rival it with Del Holla as far as water quality because I've been on both lakes a few times.
Yeah.
But I can get by with 8-pound fluoro on Joe Cassie. I just don't see going to 4 pounds. I'm too much of a hook setter.
Yeah.
That's not going to work for me.
No, you ain't even setting the hook then. You're just kind of letting the drag do its job.
Yeah.
But, Chris, we got any questions coming through?
No, everything's quiet right now. Just chatting.
I got you.
Themselves.
Everybody's just kind of chit-chatting on the line there? Okay. Well, want to talk to you. This last topic I want to cover, well, actually 2 more topics, but this is one of them that Bonafide, you're on Team Bonafide, and been a phenomenal boat since they've came out with it. I've been very happy with the boat, running the boat, and especially in the river. I fished the James River a lot.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of comments. People are always like, hey, how does a boat do in the river? How does it handle the river?
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on the Bonafide in the river?
I had 8 Bonafides. I sold 2. I've got 6 Bonafides left. Now, I've got a 107 out there that I got from the factory when I was working there that was a boat that was actually a clean out for the mold. Mm-hmm. So they put a bunch of funky colors in it, and it blended into an orange and brown and purplish color, and it really looks wicked. So I talked Luther and let me get that boat, and I bought it for the river. And it's been on the river twice. I'm in my SS 127 on the river.
Yeah.
It's a bigger boat. I can carry anything I want to carry on it. It handles everything that you can throw at it up to, I wouldn't try no class 3 rapids with it, but I've been through some class 2s with it with just a couple of places that I took just a couple of rods that I can keep down where I don't have to worry about a rod falling off or anything like that.
Yep.
But the boat's built to where it will handle stuff. The only thing you have to watch in the river is don't hit anything sideways that abruptly stops you because your weight, that's on any, I've flipped a Hobie before.
Yeah.
When your weight shifts and you're setting up as high as you set in any of these boats with the higher seats now, something's going over. It may not be the boat, but you are.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing about it. If you keep your seat in the high side, you need to pay attention when you're floating downstream and just fishing away, and all of a sudden you run up at 2 miles an hour onto something that's just as big as my fist sticking up, and it catches your boat and flips you.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's the biggest thing about any boat, really, that's made like that.
I've been really impressed with it. I was like, well, I'm gonna get this. This is gonna be my lake boat, and then I'll have something else for a river boat, And and like I say, before I had a Bonafide, I run a Vibe, and it was okay in the rivers. I didn't mind. I just didn't feel real comfortable in it. And I didn't feel real stable in it, and it just wasn't very comfortable for me, being a bigger guy that I am. But the Bonafide, man, it has been. We got Chris in one now, and I mean, Chris, you've been very confident in yourself just going up the river. I mean, just how you've done and all that. So, like I say, people, I get a lot of that, a lot of questions about how the Bonafide does in current and how it does in the river, and they caught a lot of slack for the back end swinging around. They came out with the flex wings, and they don't recommend using flex wings in the river. I
have mine on this weekend. And I could tell when I got in heavy current, the back end would try to spin with me because it was catching the flap and making it come around.
Yeah.
And I started to take them off, but I didn't. I had my motor on, so I just kept them. And my motor's a pusher; it's not a puller, so I could tap it and just push myself right back around. Wasn't no big deal.
Yeah.
But that it worked good with me. I like them because if you do get on flat water or slack water anywhere, it keeps the wind from blowing you around.
Yeah. And it's crazy. When they sent these things out for all the Bonafide team guys to test, and you get this in the mail, and you're like, what in the world is this going to do? But
those were a little too floppy, those first ones, too.
Yeah. I still got those ones on my one Bonafide, but it does pretty good. But I got the other set sitting out there, but, we got them on Chris, and I got them on our other ones, and it's just crazy. They don't look like much, but they do a really good job.
if you've got a bona fide, that's the best $30 you can spend, because if you're wanting a rudder to keep you from spinning around, yeah, get a rudder if you want a rudder. I used to use a rudder all the time before I went with a trolling motor to guide myself. I'd use the wind as my trolling motor and use that rudder to do that. But if you're not doing it that way and you just want to keep them spinning, that works.
Yeah.
$30 and it fixes the problem.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely a good investment for the Bonafide for sure. Let's talk a little bit about what the rest of the season looks like for Barry. I mean, you won, you're going to the Classic. What's it looking like? What's it looking like for Barry this year?
Well, I've got I ain't got my calendar in front of me to really know what I'm doing. I know I've got two more I run the local club trail here through KBF affiliated, and we've got two more tournaments, so I've got that going on. We got Lanier in the southeast for KBF. I'm going to be going to Lanier. That's September, third weekend September, if I'm not mistaken. But that's on my schedule to go. Dwayne Wally called and talked to me last night and give me a congratulations and all that stuff. And he's trying to talk me to come down to Coosa and do the Hobie. And I was planning on doing a bunch of the Hobies this year, but with this tore up shoulder, I can't paddle. And, we kind of stuck with either paddling or motor right now.
Yeah.
So I told him if I could get hooked up with somebody that I knew I could put in at point A and we could get out at point B and get back up without me having to do a bunch of upstream paddling, I'd be all for it. So I may go and do that one just to see. I got Gunnersville from the National Championship coming up. We got the Mid-Atlantic Regional coming up at Smith Lake in Virginia. I'll probably do the Southeast Regional. I hadn't even looked to see where it's at and when it's at for sure right now, but I'll probably end up and do it too, because they come out with the points the other day for KBF, and I'm sitting pretty good in Southeast and in the Mid-Atlantic, so I may try my hand at both of those.
Yeah.
I won that KBF up in Tennessee, and that kind of set me in the Cattsburg seat on some of that on points, so that worked out good. But that's my plan for now. I don't know what else I'll have. I'll just look at the schedule and see what's going on, and it's not like work is going to hinder me. So
yeah.
if my pocketbook is not squeaking, I can travel a little bit and go do something.
That's right. Yeah, we definitely plan on. I'm looking at the schedule. I'm thinking about fishing the one at Smith. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
I'm getting kind of excited. I wasn't going to do nothing this year. We wasn't going to fish no tournaments, and then got talking to a friend and was saying that all of them are opens now, So I'm kind of like, I might fish that one. I don't know, but
well, you know what that's going to be, don't you?
What's that?
That's going to be the Casey Reed show.
Oh, it's going to be a Casey Reed show for sure. I
want to go up. I mean, that's a buddy of mine. I want to go up there and beat him on his home water so bad I can't stand it. So I'm definitely going.
Yeah, and that's like Casey.
He'll probably spank me, but
Oh yeah, well September's a tough time, man, on Smith, because you got a couple of things working against you. You got fish transitioning, which they can go from 50 foot to 5 foot just like that, on that lake. So, and then you got boat traffic. So, and right now the way this coronavirus is going, and they already saying this is the busiest the lake has ever been, I think that's going to be a big factor into what everybody does, and there's not a lot of boat ramps to really spread out, I mean, there's a few, but there's not a lot to really get everybody spread out. So I think that's going to make it a little tough, is sharing a lot of water with people. So
that's true.
So, but yeah, I think it's going to be tough. But it's going to be a fun event. And like I say, me and Casey, we live about 10 minutes apart from each other. So we fish it a lot. And granted, he don't fish that body of water as much as he does his baby down in Farmville. But so yeah, I'm looking forward to that event. I just want to compete against some of these guys too. We haven't fished no big events, since we've been into kayak fishing. We've been fishing a lot of local stuff. So if I finally want to fish something big, fish something against some of the, some of these big guys,
Yeah.
So, but anyways, Chris, you said we got a question before we let him go?
Chris wants to know if he's coming to Cali Bass.
Cali Bass?
Yeah, California.
Oh, you going to drive all the way to California, Barry?
I can't do it, man. The only way I could do that is if one of my sponsors decided they wanted to pick up a bill to fly me out and set me up with a boat out there, and I don't think that's going to happen.
I understand that. That's a long drive.
Well, I know when I was still working with Bonafide, it was before COVID, it was terrible for us to try to get any bona fides to any dealers out there. So it's not like there's going to be a bona fide sitting out there if you just go hop in.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably not going to work out for me. I would love to, but I'm not driving it for sure because this 16-hour drive was bad enough. And it looks like I'm going to be going to Texas now too, and that's going to be another 16-hour drive by the time it's all said and done. So
yeah,
it's just. Them long drives is rough, man. When you try to do it on a budget.
That's right. That's exactly. Especially out to Texas, that's a long, boring ride. Like you get to some spots, it looks cool, and then the rest of it, you're like, holy moly! Like we drove down to Houston, and I was like, man, this is. You could literally let go of the steering wheel on Route 10 and just let it go, man. So, but no, man. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I really appreciate you taking the time coming on. I know it's late, and you're ready. I know you're ready to lay down in your nice, comfy bed and just enjoy being home for a little bit.
I'm ready to take a shower in my shower.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I stayed at a house with some guys. We had an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And it's a good group of guys, but we had one bathroom between, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of us had one bathroom. That was a little bit of a head wrecker there for a little while.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially when you come off the water and you got your tackle done, you're ready to get in the shower and go to bed, and you got to wait. So heck with that mess, man. But you got to do it sometimes. So
yeah.
But Barry, like I said, I appreciate you coming on, man. You want to take your time to thank anybody that, like I say, your sponsors has helped you out to get to where you are right now, or?
Yeah, I can run down a quick list on that. Bonafide, of course. To me, it's the most stable fishing platform out there. I mean, there's a lot of stable boats, but I love that boat. Yak Attack. I mean, my boat, if you look at a picture of it, it looks like a Yak Attack show boat because that's what it was when I was working there. It was a Yak Attack show boat.
Yeah.
ALX rods. I mean, there's a lot of people make good rods, but ALX, made in America, made in South Carolina. Alex and Jennifer are good people. They also have Victory Tackle Works, and I'm using a lot of my plastics now is coming from Victory Tackle Works. Bass Pro Cabela's. When I first retired from fire service, I went to work at Cabela's, and then we got absorbed in by Bass Pro. And then when I left them to go to Bonafide, first thing they done was hand me an application for pro staff. So I've been on pro staff there for 2 years.
Nice.
And that helps you with some other stuff sometimes, but that's cool to get some help out of somebody with that kind of name.
Yeah.
Pragco Brands, I was mentioning Yum a while ago. Got Yum, Bandit, Smithwick, Booyah, Hedon, War Eagle. War Eagle got bought by Pragco now. Jim don't own War Eagle anymore. And then Tourney Tag, Yak Power, and Lose. And that's my rundown. That's a list. But now I just need somebody to start cutting checks to help me do all this traveling is what I need.
Well, I tell you what, it's well-deserved, especially as well as you're doing right now. You know what I mean? It'll come. Hopefully it'll eventually come. So it just seems like it's harder. I don't want to get a whole nother topic. It seems like it's harder in the kayaking side to get those checks cut than it is in some of the bigger boat side right now. But it's getting there. It's getting there.
Yeah, I think we were really getting close. I mean, it was getting ready to bust loose.
Yeah.
It was some guys picking up some checks off some companies, and I think there was some more companies geared up. And then this COVID thing come along, and I was talking to a couple of guys up here at the tournament. I think it's going to set us back a couple of years, just because it's going to hurt the economy so bad on stuff. It's just going to set everything back to where we thought we had it ready to bust. It might be a couple more years before we get back to that.
Yeah, it's definitely next year is going to be a test of time, I think, on how things are going to be, because, like, say, everybody had a boom right now in the outdoor industry, and you're like, was this going to carry over into next year, or is this what's going to happen? You know what I mean? So we got to get through this election year, and hopefully everything will be back normal next year. I don't know, we'll see, but
we'll see.
Yeah, but like I say, man, I really appreciate taking the time. Big congratulations, and thanks. Good job pulling one out for the Bonafide team as well.
That's right. Yeah, we needed one.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So, but I appreciate you. Have a good night, and talk to you later, buddy.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you, man. See you.
See you.
All right, I'm gonna tell you what, and that's straight from the heart. is that couldn't happen to a better person.
Yeah.
I've said that about a few other guys, but when it comes to one that deserves it 100%, it's Barry. I mean, he is straight to the point. I mean, he'll tell you if you don't like something, he'll tell you if you like something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, it's like he did with Luz. You know what I mean? Like he don't sugarcoat nothing, and he tells it like it is. But he's also a genuine guy, and his love for the sport it's big. He's a big-hearted guy, and he loves bass fishing. And talking to him at ICAST and all that, it's always a pleasure to talk with Barry. So, and I'm just happy to be on the same team with this guy when it comes to Bonafide and Yak Tack. I mean, he's just, like I say, he's just that kind of guy. I don't think you could say anything bad about him. You know, like after you've talked to him and been around him, I just don't think there is a possible even any way you could ever talk bad about him. You know what I mean? I don't think you can find anything. So, and he'd do anything for you. So, like I say, big congratulations, Barry. Awesome win for Bonafide Kayaks. Needed, like I say, we needed that. So, looking forward to seeing some more of these Bonafide guys get up here and getting some wins and all that. And man, I am hoping that we can have a good showing at Smith Mountain Lake. You know, if I'm able to even have the time to make it. But yeah. I'm hoping to do it, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. What I like to do is just have, what you ought to do is if everybody gets up here is kind of do like a meet and greet kind of deal, like go out. I don't want to say meet and greet because I'm trying to sound like I'm somebody up here.
Yeah.
But just going out and meeting some of these guys and hanging out at Mango's or something, before the tournament, and just kind of getting a few guys around and chit-chatting and talking. And hell, I don't know, maybe we can do like a podcast somewhere or something, you know what I mean? Get some of these guys on.
A little mobile podcast type of thing.
Yeah, just set up, do something like that. I don't know. We'll have to work out something. We'll start talking about that. But let's kind of get in before we do we want to do the RBT now or do we want to wait?
Whatever you want to do.
Let's wait. Let's talk about the motors first, because I want to get some answers and questions or whatever from people when it comes to motor setup. So, like I said, we just broke the news was it Wednesday? I think it was Wednesday, that we just released the bow mount motor mount for the SS 127. So all of that's going to ship out Wednesday. Like I say, I want to say it again. I appreciate everybody that's ordered one so far. It is a big list of people, and we are just so fortunate and grateful for all the customers that we have. We've gotten a lot of questions about, hey, are you going to come out with this one? Are you going to come out with this one? Are you going to come out with this one? So we're looking at the 107 being released this coming up week. I've made a lot of comments on the Bonafide forum page, all that. So we are looking at that possibly being released this coming week. And then we got the Slayer and the Titan and an RS in the works. I can't tell you which one's going to come out next, but everything is soon, and it's all in the works. And that's actually why, a lot of people might have asked or noticed that James hasn't been on the show in a very long while. So, and that's the reason why, is James has been working diligently. Man, I can't believe I said that word right. I can't even say it right now.
You don't push your luck. You got it right the first time.
I can't say them $5 words like that. But anyways, he's been working really hard on making sure we're getting the mounts out, or getting the mounts designed, and he's doing a lot of design work, and he's just been doing a really good job with it. So he hasn't been able to come on with that because, like I say, it's an ongoing process. And as big as people might think we are, it's still only two of us that run that side of the operation. Now, when it comes to media, you help, and Jason Hensley helps. And, we got a group of guys that kind of help out with the media side and with the show. So, but when it comes to manufacturing, marketing, and all that stuff, it's still a team, but the main part of it's me and James when it comes to running that side of it. And it's been tough to try to get out so many brands, or so many products for so many different brands. So, but stay patient with us, guys. We are working on many more mounts, different brands as well that we don't have no stuff for, are in the works. It's just trying to get one out at a time. We don't like jumping to different ones and rushing everything. We like everything being tested. We like everything, make sure everything fits right on several different boats besides just the one that we have. So Like I say, just stay patient with us on that. But Chris, before I go any further, you said we got a question.
Yeah, Robert wants to know if we've ever fished Laurel River Lake. I know I haven't.
Laurel River Lake.
Yeah, where's that at, Robert?
I've never heard of it.
We've never heard of it. So
yeah, I'm gonna tell you, no, I ain't never fished it. But
yeah,
not saying now it could be something somebody calls it something different. I don't know, but I've never heard of it. But no, going into this new mount that we got going on with the motor guys, you see it coming up right there. It is absolutely game changer for us on our end. Now, some people say, and I was one of those people that said, I do not want a bow mount trolling motor. And it was nothing to do with the motors. It was none of that. It was how I fish.
Yeah.
I sit down and fish. And when I'm looking at a dock and I'm swinging the cast, now I do stand up some, but when I'm swinging a cast, I don't want my rod hitting the trolling motor.
Yeah.
That's my thing. So,
if you do it right, you can still sit with that one.
Oh yeah, you can. It's just boat positioning. Yeah. You know what I mean, and all that. So, but when it comes to bow mount, now, like I say, we've started out with stern mount motors, and there's still a great place in the industry for stern mount trolling motor, especially fishing rivers. I like a stern mount trolling motor for fishing rivers because if I'm going down a river, and like what we fish.
Yeah, Lee's wants to go all out. He says, torpedo on the stern and spot lock on the front. Oh my!
Hey, I will tell you what. There's been talk about that. You know what I mean? Like we have talked about, either running a torpedo or Minn Kota on the rear, and then having the spot lock and all that on the front. Now, that you get into a weight issue then.
Yeah,
now,
you got to run 2 batteries. I mean, I guess you could run off one, but
yeah, but I just don't think you'll have, because if you use the one to go to point A, point B, and then you can't use your front one because eventually you're just going to run completely out.
It'll be dead. So
you're going to need 2. And now whether you go with a 50 amp just to run to point A, point B and be good with it, depending on how big of a trolling motor you run, and then run 100 amp. Because if we get, I'm going to run 100 amp by, probably on, and put that in the rear. A lot of the pictures we actually had the battery in the front of the boat. So we didn't have it balanced out right like we should have. But we were testing, and so that's why, like some pictures you'll see, it looks like it's a little nose heavy. But a lot of that was because we were running the battery. We were running everything up front. Yeah. So
you can run the wires through the front cover there, or put a hole in it, or put your thing in it and run it to the back.
And that's what we're going to do. We're going to run everything to the back.
Yeah.
And then put the 100 amp in there on that. But I'm telling you, it's a game changer for the fact that you can have that little controller. Now, the one that we got there isn't the spot lock. They didn't have that one available at the moment with the GPS built into it.
Yeah.
You can add the module to it, and that's what we're going to be doing. But the spot lock is on point, as in, like, if you're fishing big lakes and stuff like that and you're drop shotting, that was my thing. I'm like, dude, this right here, I love drop shotting and watching the graph. I love video game fishing, and to be able to do that here is so much better, because I like my transducer so much further forward, because that's where you're dropping your line with your rod. And if I got it in the center like I do on the Bonafide, it's a little more difficult, to drop. You can still see it, but I'm not right where I want to be looking down on those fish. So that's a game changer for me for that. But the what I really liked is how it's got that variable speed with it. So I call it variable speed, but you can go up. I think it's like 8 different speeds, 7 different speeds, something like that. Might be more than that, 10. I don't know. But you can put it on speed 2, and you're just crawling so slow that I stopped and just watched the bank for a little while, see if I was even moving.
Yeah.
Because the motor is so quiet that you don't hear it. And to be a brushless motor, Torpedo's got a brushless motor. Now, I'm not here to bash any company, but Torpedo has a brushless motor, and it sounds like your drill running. You know what I mean? Like, it's so loud. Now, I haven't had the experience to really run the 1103, but with the 403, now I've heard the 1103, in the tank testing and all that. It's quieter than the 403, in my opinion, but it's still not quiet like the XI3.
Yeah, you don't have a picture of the mount just by itself with it not being bolted to
I do not.
I was going to add that to the slideshow, but I didn't see it in here.
It might be on our One Objective page. I might have it up there. I don't know. No, I don't think I do.
Okay. I just want to make sure. No big deal.
Yeah. No, I don't. But I can't. We will get some of those pictures this weekend. This coming up week.
Barry says the 1103 is quiet.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot quieter. But compared to like when you go in with the motor guide and you don't, like say, man, we put it up on speed 4 where you're kind of moving pretty good. It does not make a sound. You don't hear it. It's just ridiculously quiet.
It comes with the remote control of the motor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, you know how the power pole thing is? You got the little fob?
The little button.
Yeah, you got that.
Okay.
Now, the downfall to me with the motor guide is the ability to pull it up when you're out on the water.
Yeah.
You can, but you got to crawl in front of your boat to do it. But there's some things in the works through One Objective that will allow you to do that. I can't guarantee you when it's going to come out. If it'll be this week, next week, whatever. But if you deploy it right when you first put in and you don't really plan on, pulling it back up much until you come back in, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Now we crawled to the front of the boat and we deployed it and we pulled it back up. It's not hard to deploy.
It'd be like the saying is if you're you got to go in your front hatch.
Yep, that's exactly right.
I mean, if you can go in your front hatch, you can just
you can
up there and do whatever.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, if you're used to going to your front hatch and doing all that, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
It really isn't. So, but that's the only negative, dude, that I could really find.
Now, did you have to adjust the vertical adjustment when you first put it on there? Or
No, I mean, you can. And I think, each boat and how you set it up, you'll have to.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we were nose heavy, so we didn't.
Yeah, that one where James is standing, you can see it was kind of nose heavy.
Yeah. So we didn't have to adjust it. We adjusted it up a little bit more, instead of being so deep.
Yeah.
But I think it's 36-inch shaft.
Oh, okay.
You figure on our bow mount trolling motors, we're cutting them down to 24 inches.
Are those motors hard to get right now?
Yes. Right now they are. Now, talking about the stern, really want to talk about it real quick. The stern mount motors, the Minn Kota 30s and all that, the Enduras, they were so hard to get. If you keep checking your local Walmarts, there was 3 of them in Bedford Walmart today.
Oh, wow.
And then James had some pictures of where he was at, had some. So, they're getting them. You know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah, I think stuff's starting to get more readily available. It's starting to pick up production a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it will, too, once hunting season comes in around here.
They're already putting hunting stuff out.
Yeah. So some people, not all, but some people put down the fishing poles for a rifle or a bow. So I think it'll catch back up a little bit then. But right now it's really tough to even buy shaky heads and drop shots and some of that terminal tackle stuff even at Bass Pro and Walmart. So, but, getting kind of back to the motor there.
Lee says there's one in Bonsack Walmart Friday night.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're in the market to get one, you better be checking your local Walmarts and don't go by the phone and seeing what's in stock because sometimes that ain't right.
No, because unrelated, but I was just at Walmart yesterday and they had 5 Nintendo Switches. Up there, and they say they don't have none on their website. But
so if you're looking
for a Nintendo Switch for your kid, you better go to Bonsack Walmart. They got 5 of them as of yesterday,
and they ain't gonna last long.
No,
because what were they going for on Amazon and stuff?
$300 and $400.
Yeah, so they were going for more than what you can buy them for right now. So, and would you say the used ones were going for?
The used ones are $250.
Yeah, so I mean, you better
not fishing related, but if you're looking if your kid's wanting one of them,
yeah.
Whatever.
That's outdoor. That's One Objective outdoors.
Well, I guess so. You can take it outside and play with it.
Yeah. But no. So, but like I say, if you're in the market to get one of those motors, keep checking with your Walmart. You can get them. People always ask us, how come we don't sell those motors as a kit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is, we got to market up them because we got to go buy it. We got to pay the tax.
Do all the work on it.
And all that. So we always tell people it's cheaper for people to go buy it themselves and cut it and do all that because, like say, because we got to charge this to tax. You know what I mean? So then you just got your upcharge stuff to it. So I always tell people if you can find them and buy them, heck, you can buy it for $97. I think it is at Walmart.
Yeah.
Shoot, go pick you one up. It's well worth. Even if all you can find is a 30, at least you're getting a trolling motor on your boat to start with.
Yeah.
But now when it comes to the bow and the stern, I will say I like, and I think I started talking about it and we got sidetracked. When it comes to the stern motor, fishing the shallow water that we fish, I like it a lot more on the backside going down the river. Because, like, if you hit a rock, it kicks the motor up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On that right there,
it's going to pull it down.
I have a feeling you're going to bend a shaft. Yeah. Now, I'm not. The shafts are strong on a lot of these trolling motors now, you know. But
you just have to be careful not to be running 35 miles an hour.
Wide open going out there. I mean, you hit a rock at 3 or 4 miles an hour. Say you're trolling on down real fast, and you ain't paying attention. Water might be a little lower than you used to. Boom, you hit that. Man, I don't know what you could tear something up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You could do some damage. So
it'd be nice to have like a little guard made for the front where it could just deflect off of it.
Yeah, kind of like the rock guard, like a torpedo. Yeah. Like it just kind of reflects to the side.
Where it bolts to the bottom of it and it'll just knock you off of it.
Yeah.
Instead of stopping you dead, like hitting a tree stump at Briery.
Oh man,
on a John boat.
I wish we had GoPro on that day. I mean, that was like whiplash kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We thought we knew where we were going. We did.
Well, we did, but
we went through there last time and didn't hit nothing. Well, it's kind of a short story. Me and Chris went to Briery Creek one time in his John boat. And if you've ever been around me and Chris and we're out there fishing, we're just chit-chatting and kind of like we were on a show tonight. Just chit-chatting and goofing off and having a good time like you should be when you're out on the water. And we're getting to head back towards the boat ramp. We can see the boat ramp. We're cruising on. You get into a wide open spot there at Briery. And if you've run it enough like we have, you kind of know where to run and not hit nothing.
Yeah.
Man, we're cranking.
I got it on 5.
Yeah. I mean, we are getting it. And all of a sudden, we come to an abrupt stop. Now, I will tell you, it's the man's job up front to keep an eye out on something coming.
Not be turning facing the boat motor guy, the driver, talk chit-chatting.
Yeah. So I'm sitting sideways just chit-chatting with Chris, and boom! Man, I about eat the floor of that boat, man. It was like a blur when everything hit. And then we were hung up on it for a little bit, wasn't we?
We finally got off of it.
Oh, man, that was so funny. We were so lucky.
First time we saw a guy on a kayak out there fishing.
Yeah.
I guess this is right when kayak fishing was starting.
Yeah, that was starting because it was a big kayak tournament on there.
Yeah, because he was complaining. See, I done got stuck like 15 times. I don't even remember what kind of kayak he had.
Yeah.
We was just impressed that he had it loaded down with all his stuff.
Yeah. And at that time, I'm like, man, them guys are crazy. I never put that much stuff on a kayak. Now look at me. Yeah. But look at us. But yeah, it was... But, you know, kind of getting, like, say, back to the stern and all that, I think it is still a place and a time to have that back mount, you know, the stern mount. Because, like, say, you're fishing stuff with stumps a lot of times, or the front mount ain't too bad for that. But if you're getting somewhere you're getting a lot of current, river rolling, it's good to have something, like, if you're going down the river, it's going to kick that motor up, you know? Yeah. Now, I run an actuated mount on mine. So if I get into stuff that's looking like it's going to be really fast and could bump rocks and stuff like that, I trim it on up and then just run it. Because I'll have that thing burning water, just tilling water, man, and some of that shallow stuff and still keep trucking, you know. That's kind of like running a jack plate on a bass boat, you know, electric jack plate. You can trim that thing like Potomac.
Yeah.
People running that thing way up where it's just blowing water out, but you can run really shallow water with it. So, but yeah, I mean, my take on the XI3 game changer. I loved having it. We're actually going to get another one, and I'm probably going to rig that one either. Probably I'm going to have it set up so I can run on my Bonafide and my Titan. I think so. But on the lake, I think that's going to be deadly, especially if we can get the spot lock. And that's where I'm torn when it comes to people ask me, would you much rather have the XI3 or would you much rather have a Torpedo? When it comes to speed, you're going to get it out Torpedo. This boat here, we was nose heavy. We were running 4.9 miles an hour with James and me. And I'm a lot bigger than James. Yeah. Now, like I say, we were nose heavy. So a lot of the water was actually coming up to the dry pod because we were so nose heavy when you're going. So you're losing a lot of speed. I feel that that's a 5.1, 5.2 mile an hour motor. Could be more. I don't know. Yeah. But I don't think a whole lot more. But it rolls, man. It's 55 pounds of thrust, you know. Now when it comes to Torpedo, like I say, you're going to get your speed and all that, but you don't have your spot lock. You don't have your it's a little more. The 1103 is a little bit louder than the the XI3, but it's a lot quieter than the 403. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but I think all motors have their place in time when they need to be used. It's just when someone asks me which one do you prefer, if you would have asked me probably about 3 weeks ago, hell, I'll give it a week ago. If you'd asked me a week ago what I prefer, I'd tell you something in stern. After running that, I'm like, holy moly. I just never realized how much I liked it and how slow I can move and work a bank. And I don't have to sit down to steer it. You know, that's another positive with it. I can sit there and put that thing on a head and say you're going down a bank and you put that thing on a head and you're just constantly fishing. You're not worrying about that thing doing this or working its way and all that, in the back. Or you sitting down.
A little bit of a breeze, and it ain't going to throw you up against the bank right away.
Yeah. So, if I had a choice right now between a Torqeedo and XI3, I'm going to go XI3. If I had to choose which one you're going to run on the river, I'd probably say either a Torqeedo or a Minn Kota, anything in the stern. So, is anybody saying anything right now? I mean, anybody saying much about motors?
No, Rommel says he's been running the XI5 and XI3 for many years. He likes them. And point A to point B Torqeedo can't be beat.
No, you're right. It can't.
He says pros and cons of both. Depends on the water you fish.
That's exactly right. And that's what I was trying to – I didn't want to bash no product whatsoever tonight because I think they're all good. It's just
Rommel says try out root recording. It works awesome.
Oh, yeah. That's something I've been looking at. We were looking at that, and it's got several different options for like say running different routes,
And Chris says if you have the Lowrance, you can connect it to the XI3 and it'll drive to spots on its own.
Yeah. Now they have it too for I was looking, they have the Garmin plug. So you can connect it from that to the Garmin. Now I'm trying to figure out everything if it still does what it should do with the Lowrance, I don't know. But they do have the plug to connect them to the Garmin now. So and the Humminbird and all that. So but like I say, definitely a game changer in my opinion on our end. Some guys have been running for a while. Guys in New Canoe have been running for a good while. And when all this XI3 and all this stuff was coming out, you see a lot of the pictures are on New Canoes. But I sent all these pictures over to Bonafide. Bonafide is like loving it. You know what I mean? And to be able to have the chance talking with Gene Jensen and sending to him the Gene Jensen Fluke Master for him to run them is so freaking awesome, man, because you feel like now you're finally to a point where, okay, we got some of the big guys in the industry looking at it, wanting to run it, and they're going through the front mount trolling motors. They're seeing the positives of it, and they've run all kinds of different motors. So next year I think that's what I'm going to run. I think I'm going to run if I do we were talking about either fishing KBF or Bassmaster events. And the reason why we're not going to fish Hobies is because it's all pedal drive stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Nothing against Hobies. I think they're really good events.
So no electric motors in Hobie?
No. Unless you practice. I think it's 2 days or 3 days for practice or something like that.
Oh, okay.
You can do it for practice, but you can't do it for the event. So, but anyways, looking at those two events, those two series next year, I think that's what I'm going to be running the whole time is probably the XI3. But like I say, who knows? We might have a kicker motor in the back that kind of you use that to go to wherever you want to go, and then you're done with it until you need to head back home. So, but the cool thing about the XI3, man, is like I say, you put that GPS mark in your boat, in your thing, and you want to go back to the boat ramp and clean up your boat while you're going in.
Never get lost.
Boop, hit it.
Yeah.
Set it and forget it, baby. You know what I mean?
Just got to watch for other people.
Yeah. That's it. You got to pay attention now.
Stop for other people.
No, it don't detect other boats running at you wide open. No. So, but anyways, Chris, let's go ahead and pick a winner for the RBT Custom Baits giveaway with our natural crawl. Let's go ahead and pull that picture up there. There we go. That's what we're giving away tonight. Chris is going to pick a random winner. Now, when Chris picks this winner, we'll reach out to you, or you can message us on One Objective in the instant messages. If you can do that, it works out better. But if we don't hear nothing from you, we'll go ahead and message you and want to go ahead and get this information out. Get your address and all that so we can send it on to you. But just don't put it in the comments here. But anyways, just message at One Objective BF on our Facebook, or you can email us, whichever way works good for you. And but like I say, Chris is working it up now. Who's going to be the winner of this bait which I want to tell you what, I want to thank Ron from RBT Custom Baits. He has done a phenomenal job on helping sponsor our giveaways, and he's always giving away something nice. It ain't like something somebody spray canned. You know what I mean? Like, it's nice looking stuff.
Puts a lot of work into it.
Yeah. He gives away some really nice baits. So, Ron, I really appreciate your with you helping us with these crankbaits. But anyways, let's go ahead, get our winner. Who we got, Chris? Kaz Kid.
Kaz? I don't know if it's Kaz or Kaz.
Kaz or Kaz. I don't know. We're good at butchering names. But anyway, you won, Kaz Kid.
Yeah. Well.
But I'm sure that's like the third or fourth name we've butchered up here in the last couple weeks, probably.
Yeah, we're the name butchers.
Yeah. So, no offense. We're sorry. We don't mean to, but, that's just... We're from Virginia, man. We don't even got that good reading skills. What did somebody say on my on our iTunes? Good grammarly.
Good grammarly.
Yeah. Your grammarly sucks or something like that.
And you're being egotistical. You talk too much.
That's right. Well, I'm sorry. I have a podcast. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's about. You're talking.
But anyways, but guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. It was a fun show. Like I say, I wanted to give everybody my thoughts on the XI3s. And also, like I say, let everybody know we got more bow mount mounts coming out for other brands. So stay tuned. Keep an eye on our One Objective page. Also, you can go on oneobjectivebf.com. You can see all our mounts there. We got other products like Anchor Wizard, Yak Attack. We got AccuCoal. Man, we got several different odd and end brands on there that you can go check out, help you rig out your kayak. If we don't have it, message us, see if we can get it or whatever, because there's a few products we can get we just think haven't been stocking. So, also we're a big, we're a Torqeedo dealer.
Yeah.
So check us out if you're interested in Torqeedo, power pole, and also we got some Real Snot products on there as well. So make sure you go check all of that out on oneobjectivebf.com. And there was one more thing. God darn. Oh, also make sure you check out our YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, and like I say, we got our new One Objective pages coming out. One Objective Outdoors. It's kind of behind the scenes. It's a little bit of everything. It might be some fishing on there here and there, but it's going to be more of hunting, full wheeling, go-kart, and a little bit of everything. But you will see some fishing on there too. So make sure you go check us out on Instagram, Facebook there, and we'll have some videos coming out soon. On a lot of that. And a lot of our videos on that's going to be like how-to, working on stuff.
Yeah.
Some of it's going to be vlogs. It's going to be a little bit of everything. So other than that, guys, we'll talk to you later. Y'all have a good night and safe weekend. See ya.
See ya.